Shalom Akim, Shalom Yasharallah. First off, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. And I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth to rule well. All right. Um, you know, people want to say that the Most High is all about love. All right. Which, yeah, he loves Israel, you know, but he doesn't love every single body. And Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, didn't come here for everybody. He didn't die for everybody's sins, all right, but unto an election, you know. So he didn't come here for everybody's sins. He came here for an election. And the only ones that can follow Yahweh Shai and the Most High Yahweh are the Israelites, more specifically the election, you know. So I'm going to be getting into a couple things, you know, I'm not going to make it too long, you know. This is John 3:16. For the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. All right, that word whosoever doesn't necessarily mean every single, all right, every single body. It doesn't mean, you know, any nation or any individual, all right, but an individual, you see, of the tribes of Israel. It says individually, all right, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. All right, each, every, any, all, the whole, everyone, all things, everything, collectively, some, all right, some, that's the most important one, some of all types, all right, some of all types of what? The tribes, all right, only a remnant's going to be saved of the tribes, you know. Yahweh Shai never says that he came here to save every single body, all right. So it says that whosoever is just some of all types, all right, which really it boils it down to some of the 12 tribes, you know. So let me see. It says, but have everlasting life, and that's a promise to the elect. It says, for the Most High sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. All right, so people want to misuse that one too, to say that everybody's saved, the whole world is saved. All right, so that word there means cosmos, all right, which is a particular going into a certain thing, you know, really, all right, going deeper into it, everything is going to be blessed and saved, all right, because the Israelites are going to be in rulership. And when the Israelites are in rulership, all right, judgment, equity, all right, righteousness, all of those good things are going to be established through the spirit and power of the Most High Yahweh, through his Son Yahweh Shai and the elect. All right. So yeah, everything is going to be saved. All right. The world would see, you know what? Where was that? Matthew 24:22. All right. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see? So through the blood of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, all right, if it wasn't for the blood of the Messiah, if Yahweh Shai would have gone off, which is not possible, all right, during the time that he was here, all right, the whole world would have been damned, you know? But the needful thing was for Yahweh Shai to be set up on the cross, lifted up like the serpent, all right, and it happened, you know. So yeah, the whole world is saved, because we know that the actual world, all right, the actual world abideth forever, just like the world of Israel, all right, is abiding forever. So we'll get that in, I'm just trying to prove this point. What was that? Jeremiah. Salakia, my mind just completely went blank. Jeremiah 45, was it? I believe it was 45. And nope, it was not 45. Damn. Jeremiah, Isaiah 45 and 17, I believe. Yep. It says, but Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be confounded or ashamed. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded. Salakia, world without end. All right. So Israel is the world that the Most High is looking for. All right. So we'll look at that word, world, and its continuous existence. All right. Everlasting, long duration, antiquity, forever, everlasting. All right. Which that's Salakia. I don't know why the hell it does that shit. All right. So that word world means long duration, all right, or future of long time. Let me see. I feel like it's not actually getting the word world. Seal, vanishing point, genetically one time. World without end. All right, the beginning of the world without end. So the world is not ending, and neither is the world of Israel. Israel is not going to end, man. Because the salvation is actually for Israel. So all that thing about, the Most High loving the world and giving his son so that everything could be saved, it's not talking about every single person, man. All right? Because when you go to Matthew 26, 28, yep. So let me start off at verse 27. It says, and he took the cup, all right, talking about Yahushai, and he gave thanks, and he gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood for the New Testament, which is shed for many, all right, for many, check those words out, for many, Salakia, we'll check this word, look it up, many, and it says, a large number of, as determiner, many people agreed with her as pronoun, the solution to many of our problems. Many think it was a new craze. Noun, it says many animals were killed, numerous, all right, a number, a people not numbered, a great good deal of, a lot of, plenty of, countless, innumerable, all right, innumerable, and that's the word that we're going to use, innumerable, scores of, crowds of, droves of, an army of, a horde of, all right, so innumerable. So that word many means innumerable, So the New Testament, who does the New Testament really apply to? Because people want to use that word, oh, we're under the new covenant, the New Testament. All right. It says, but I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Which, let me see, I could be wrong. But, man, what was it? Is it Hebrews? Hebrews 9, possibly 15. Yep, Hebrews 9 and 15. It says, and for this cause he is the mediator, all right, Yahushai, of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the First Testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Who is the inheritance to? Jacob, Israel. All right. The water Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. I'm glad I remembered that. All right, through Spirit. But it says the New Testament, which actually I'll get that in the blue letter in a minute. All right, because it should be the same thing. That word testament there in the Greek should be diathekos, diatheke, actually, diatheke. All right, diatheke. So we go down to testament, diatheke. Strong's G 1242.
Strong's G 1242. Diatheke. Diatheke.
All right, and this is a disposition, arrangement of any sort, which one wishes to be valid, the last disposition which one makes of earthly possessions after his death, a testament or a will. Check this out. A compact, a covenant, a testament. You see? A covenant and a testament is the same exact thing. God's covenant with Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 patriarchs. That's a covenant that he made with Israel. All right? So the new covenant is talking about, or the New Testament is talking about the new covenant. All right? Which is shed for many. All right? Which is a selection. Shed for many. Innumerable. Which we can get that in Revelations chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number. If you can't number it, it's innumerable. All right? So he shed his blood for innumerable people of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues, and stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So people are like, well, you see, it says all kindreds, all people, and all tongues, all nations. But when you go to the book of Acts, chapter 2 and verse, I believe it was like 15. Yep. For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. But this is what which was spoken by the prophet Joel. All right. And the prophet Joel in Joel chapter 2, verse 20, what was it? 2 verse 28, I believe. Let me get that. Joel. Yeah, Joel chapter 2. It's like it. Joel. Damn, I hate when it does that, man. Joel chapter 2, verse 28, was it? Let me see. Yep. Joel 2 and 28, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Does that mean every single body? Does that mean every single person is going to have the Spirit of the Most High to prophesy and to do these things? No. Yeah, some people are going to prophesy that are not Israelites, all right? They're giving instruction, or the Most High gives them instruction as they sleep, as it is written. It says, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke, which is also in Acts chapter 3. But in Acts chapter 2, verse 15, all right, Peter is explaining, that these people that are speaking, Salaki, let me jump up so you can see that part, all right? Which, I just wanted to show that prophecy. But jumping up, it says, Acts chapter 2 and verse 7, Salaki, and verse 5, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, all right, which are Israelites, devout men out of every nation under heaven. So what does that mean? That means if you're a so-called American, a so-called Mexican, a so-called Paraguayan, a so-called German, a so-called Chinese man, a so-called Nigerian, a so-called Englishman, that's a nation. You coming out of a different nation, all right? But you're a devout man. You're a Jew, an Israelite, all right? Out of every nation under heaven, you see, we have brothers in Germany, all right? We have brothers in London, brothers in New York, brothers in Texas, brothers in California, brothers in Mississippi, brothers in Mexico, brothers in Costa Rica, brothers in Haiti, all right, Trinidad, all right. You have brothers all over the world, man. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we got brothers waking up that we don't even know about, because that's the spirit of the Most High, you know, under every nation, but they're still Jews, man. It says, now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, all right. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what to say about what was going on. It says, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. You see that? My own language is Spanish. It's not English. All right? My own language is Spanish. That's what I grew up with. That's what my family speaks. You know? So I was more accustomed to Spanish. I spoke Spanish way before I spoke English. You know? After being in this country, I learned to speak English. You know? But it would be like me going to Israel. You know, or me living in Israel, Salakia, me living in Israel, and then coming to the Americas in Mexico, you know, or Mexicans visiting Israel and seeing me out in the highways and byways prophesying in Spanish, you know, or people from the Americas seeing me prophesy in English over there in Mexico, you know, which really nowadays is not too uncommon, you know, but back then they were like, yo, how are these Galileans that were born here, all right, how are they speaking all these other languages? You know, because our people were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, man. You know, it says, and they shall all they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are these not which speak Galileans? And now hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born, Parthians, Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers of Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, and Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in parts of Libya, and about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, and Jews and proselytes, Crete and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our own tongues and wonderful works of the Most High. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, what meaneth this? All right. So out of every nation, out of every tongue, all right, doesn't necessarily mean exactly every nation and exactly every tongue, you know. So going back to Revelations chapter, 7 and 9, it says, after this I beheld and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, innumerable. That's what Yahushua died for. All right, an innumerable amount of people of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Now David said that he wanted to be made white as the snow. Does that mean that he wants to be a leper? No. All right. He's saying he wants to be made clean, pured, all right, purified. So these elect, all right, actually I think it's in Psalms 51, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get that. Psalms 51, and I'm going to start off at verse, it's right there. Let me start off at verse 1. It says, the chief musician of Psalm of David, when Nathan the prophet came unto him, after he had gone into Bathsheba, have mercy upon me, O my power, according to thy loving kindness, according unto the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. All right, which is also in the book of Isaiah 44. Isaiah 44. Salakia. Isaiah 44, it says, verse 1, now hear, O Jacob, my servant, in Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy, actually, I have my sword right here. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 26, it says, there is none like unto the power of Jeshurun, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and in his excellency on the sky. The eternal God is thy refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms, and shall thrust out the enemy from before thee, and shall say, destroy them. So if salvation was for everybody, all right, everybody's saved, the whole world is saved, then why is he going to make the Israelites, all right, turn around and destroy people? You know, verse 28, Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine, and also his heavens shall drop down dew. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people, saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. You see? So all of this belongs to who? It belongs to Israel, man. So going back to Isaiah 44:2, thus saith Yahweh that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. All right? Jeshurun is Yasharuan, which means upright one. All right? The ideal way that Israel should be. You know, the leaders. So let's look at that. It says Jeshurun. It says upright one. You see, a symbolic name for Israel describing her ideal character. You know, so Jeshurun is Israel, and the Most High loves who? Israel. It says, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. All right, and we were dry. Ezekiel 37 tells us how we're going to be rising up, man, from the ground. All right, because of that water that was poured upon us, which is a blessing. All right, this wisdom, knowledge, understanding that is going to cover us. You know, it says, I will pour my spirit upon thy seed. You see, I will pour my spirit upon thy seed. What did we read in the book of Acts and in the book of Joel chapter 2? All right, we read about the spirit being poured out. It wasn't to everybody, but it was to Israel. And my blessings upon thine offspring. You see, so who is the blessing to? Israel, the offspring of Israel. And they shall spring up as among the grass, and as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I'm Yahweh's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, which is being done, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, which is being done, and surname himself by the name of Israel, which is being done right now. Thus saith Yahweh, the King of Israel, as his Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts, I am the first, I am the last, and besides me there is no power. All right, so the Most High is the one that sends out the decrees, like it is written. All right, I create the good, actually I think it's in Isaiah 45 where it says that, you know. Let me get that in my handy dandy scripture. All right, Isaiah 45, I believe it was like verse 4, if I'm not mistaken. It's Isaiah 45, and let me start off at 6. That they may know from the rising of the sun from the west, that there is none besides me. I am the Lord Yahweh, and there is none else. So nobody else does these things but the Most High. Yahweh Shai did not come to the earth to do his own will, but the will of the Father. All right. So the Lord Yahweh Shai is not the same as Yahweh the Most High. All right. But we are part of the same body. It says, I form the light, verse 7, and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh the Lord, do all these things. You see? So there is no other power but the Most High, and the Most High has chosen who? Israel. So let's jump down to verse 20. He feedeth on ashes, and deceiveth heart hath turned him aside, that he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, is there not a lie in my right hand? All right, so the Most High is the one that does these to the people. Remember these, O Jacob and Israel. All right, the northern kingdom and southern kingdom, all of Israel together. You know, like Isaiah, or like Ezekiel 37 talks about. It says, for thou art my servant. So if you're a servant of the Most High, you can't say you're a servant of the Most High if you're another nation. You see? Because the Most High deemed Israel to be his servant. Nobody else, just Israel. I have formed thee, thou art my servant. You see? So the Most High formed Israel to be the servant of the Most High. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. So we can't be forgotten by the Most High. And like we read in Psalms 55, wash me thoroughly, verse 2, from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin, for I acknowledge my transgressions and my sin is ever before me. All right, so behind you. Against thee only have I sinned and done this evil in thy sight, Salakia, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest and clear when thou judgest. Behold, I was sharpened in iniquity, and sin did my mother conceive me. All right, because we know David's mother was not a Mary per se. It says, behold, thou desirest the truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden parts thou shalt make me to know wisdom. And that's how we are learning this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. It says, purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. You see, that doesn't mean that King David, which is a so-called Negro, wanted the Lord to make him a what is it called, a leper. All right, he didn't want to be leprous. That's not what that's talking about. That's talking about being made white, clean. All right, and we'll actually go to that word white in Psalms 51 after this. Isaiah 44 and verse 22. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Sing, O ye heavens, for Yahweh hath done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing, ye mountains. O forest, O every tree therein, for Yahweh hath redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel. All right, which is what we see in Revelations. Let me see. Revelations and 18, Revelations 18 and verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, O ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. All right, so it's talking about the same thing. The holy apostles, all right, the saints, they're Israelites, all right. 144,000 elect are men, all right, Israelite men, 12,000 out of each tribe, and the great innumerable multitude is also Israel, you know. So let me get that in Psalms 51, all right, in verse, what was it, 4? Before me, verse 7. Yep, 7. Let's look at that word whiter, you know, which is Laban. All right, Laban. It means to be white, not necessarily in skin color, because it says to make white, become white, purify. That's what it means, to purify, to show whiteness, grow white, to become white, be purified. All right. So David wanted to be purified. He's not saying he wants to be a leper, you know. Not saying that there's not going to be any light skin or pale skin brothers that are going to come into this truth and be saved. All right. Because we're scattered through all tongues, through all nations, you know, and we're going to come out of all tongues and all nations, you know. So going back to Matthew 26 and 28. Matthew 26 and 28. This is Yahushua speaking. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remissions of sins. All right. Shed for many. So that's the innumerable multitude, which includes 144,000. It says, but I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of the fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's house. All right. So who is salvation for? That word testament means what? We'll go into this, and then let me get this one first, actually. You know, Romans. And I always like going to Romans, you know, because it's just straight to the point, man. Romans 9 and 1. I say the truth in Mashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness with the Holy Spirit. All right, so we're not lying about this truth, man, because we're going straight into the scriptures. I have not once come out of my own mouth saying, well, I believe it's actually this. Well, I believe this is actually that. No, it's like it says in the book of, let me get it real quick, so I don't come out of my own mouth. This is Isaiah chapter it's like 28 and 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? Whom shall he make understand doctrine? All right, Isaiah 28 and 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? Who's that? The Most High. And whom shall he make understand doctrine? That's the same thing that the book of Corinthians talks about in the 2nd chapter, I believe. Let's see if I can get that one. All right. Book of Corinthians, Salakia. First book of Corinthians, chapter 2 and verse 6. Shalakia. 2nd Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 6. I have planted, Apollo watered, but the Most High, Yahweh, gave the increase. So then, neither is it that he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but the Most High, Yahweh, that giveth the increase. All right. Now, he that planteth, he that watereth are one, and every one shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. So it doesn't matter who says it. All right. It's the Most High that gives the increase. But it's always like in Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1, it says that for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai in diverse times has spoken in time past to the fathers by the word of the prophet. So by the mouth of the prophet, the Most High has been seeking people, his people, So it says that verse 2 in Romans 9 and 2, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Mashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption. All right, there's no adoption of any other nation but Israel themselves, and the glory and the covenants. See that? And the covenants and the giving of the law and the services of the Most High and the promises. So all of this belongs to Israel. The Messiah had to come out of Israel. Salvation will come from Israel. All right? For salvation is of the Jews, man. It's not of the nations. Hey, that one's beautiful too in the book of Romans. Actually, it was book of Romans chapter 9, I believe. Not after righteousness have attained concerning Israel. No, what book was it? I thought it was Romans. Unto seeds. You know what it is? It is Romans. It's 2 seeds. Did not say 2 seeds. Oh, it's Galatians. Beautiful. Galatians 3 and 16. Now to Abraham and his seed. Yep. Is Galatians, Salakia. Let's start off at verse 14. The blessing of Abraham might come to the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach. All right. So check this out. It's talking about Gentiles. It's talking about salvation through the Lord, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. All right. Which the Spirit was poured out to who? To Israel, as we established. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereto. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and unto seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed which is in Mashiach. All right, and who did the seed come from in Mashiach? Well, we read that in Romans chapter 9. So let me go down to Salakia. I always just start thinking about the scripture and I don't even pay attention to what I'm doing. It says, Romans chapter 9, verse 5, whose are the fathers, as of whom, as concerning the flesh, Mashiach came, who is over all, God blessed forever, Amen. All right. So it's talking about Israel. Now, as though the word of the Most High hath taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. So not all Israel is going to be saved, So going back to Matthew 26 and 28, it says the word testament 1242, diatheke, all right, which means what? A covenant. Let's look that up. Covenant. It says law, a contract drawn up by deed. What was the deed? The blood of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right. It says a breach of a covenant, contract, agreement, undertaking, commitment, guarantee, warrant, pledge, promise, bond, promises. Remember the promises who they belong to. Romans chapter 9. Bond, indenture, pact, deal, settlement, arrangement. All right. So the word covenant means a law. All right. And a law between two people. All right. And the Most High called Israel his people. You know. So that covenant really belongs to Israel. And I'll end it actually. I'll end it with this. You know, I'm on my little break. Just thought I should do this. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. You see that? Straight to the point, just like Romans 9. Israel and Judah. Israel was known as the northern kingdom. Judah was known as the southern kingdom. All right? Israel is the northern kingdom, the so-called Latinos, so-called Hispanics, so-called natives. All right? Seminole Indians. And Judah, which would be so-called Negroes. All right? So-called Jamaicans, Haitians, you know. So Levi, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi are so-called Negroes, you know. West Indians, you know, were scattered throughout Israel. All right. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers. So our forefathers were made the covenant of Abraham, you know, the covenant of the laws, you know, of drawing blood through the foreskin, you know, the circumcision, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you know. That was the old covenant, the Old Testament, which is what? A covenant. The New Testament is what? A covenant. The new covenant, which Jeremiah 31 and 31 has prophesied about. All right? It says, in their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Does it say all nations? Does it say everybody? No. All right, but these Christians and these followers, so-called followers of the Messiah, they don't want to listen to any of this, man. They're like, no, I can't put myself to believe that the Most High chooses favorites. Well, why the hell, all right, would you have the book of Genesis, the book of Exodus, the book of Leviticus, the book of Numbers, all right, the book of Judges, or the book of Joshua, the book of Numbers, you know, which is all about a seed line, you know, the book of Ruth. Yeah, the book of Ruth, where it talks about Boaz, Obed, Jesse, all right, which then goes on to David and Solomon and so on and so forth, man. You know, it's all about a seed line, and that seed line is what? Israel. It's always been about Israel. The Most High never changes, man. So why would he change now? Why is he like, well, you know what? Yeah, I've been with Israel for so long. You know, it's like that, like you have a car, like me, for say, I have this car, you know, I've had this car for a couple years. I've been doing a lot to this car, you know, working on this car, and I put some physical labor into this car, and I've also put some money into this car to take it to shops and to get stuff done to it, and I've done a lot to this car, man. So now I have some type of attachment to this car, and I'm too far in to trade this car in, man. I've lost too much, you know. I've invested too much time. Same thing with the Most High. He's invested so much time with Israel. All right, why is he just out of nowhere gonna be like, you know what, fuck Israel? He's not gonna do that, man. All right, all Israel will be saved, but 2/3 of Israel must be put away. You know, they have to see redemption through hard chastening. All right. So it says, I will put my law after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my law. You see that? So the law is not done away with. that doesn't mean you can just be at liberty and not have any law, be lawless. All right. The liberty, all right, the Apostle Paul talks about is not about being lawless, all right, but about knowing that you can't fulfill the law to the perfection. And that's why we have mercy. That's why we have mercy. That's why we have that lenient, what is that called? That grace, all right? That's why we have grace, man. Because we can't fulfill the law to the perfection. Now, do we say that the law is done away with? God forbid. We establish the law, all right? So you should still follow the law because that's your heritage, all right? That's something that's righteous. But is the law going to save you? No. The law itself is not going to save you, but through faith that you have in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the law will be established through your body. All right? But when the kingdom comes, we will no longer have to teach each other. All right? Israelite to Israelite. We will teach the other nations. All right? It says, I will put my law in their inward parts and then write it in their hearts, and I will put their power, and I will be their power, Salakia, and they shall be my people. All right? So that's point blank period, man. You know, a covenant is a testament. You know, the New Testament is a new covenant that Jeremiah talks about. And that new covenant is for Israel, not for anybody else. So to you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, I say shalom. All right. And Lord willing, this is edifying. All right. To the elect out there, keep pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. And as always, giving all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakudash. And I want to give double honors to our apostles, to our teachers that are teaching us this truth to rule well. Shalom, Akim. Stay strong out there, and don't forget, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai is fighting for you. You know, so stay in this truth, man. Keep fighting, because the Most High is fighting for you. All right, Shalom.